Hello, my friends. So it took me a little bit longer to figure this out than I wanted because I was trying to get this new software working so I could get on here live. So kind of missed. I wanted to let everybody know like we were around a high. You need to hold tight. This is the moment when like you almost buy something to chase. And that's like I said in a previous video, when you're at that moment where you're almost like, oh shit, I should chase. That's generally speaking, that's an indication that there's a reversal like about to happen, and you can see right just like that on the screen. We have that reversal. So we had a correlation here and a decline, a correlation to the Princess of Swords, and also a drop, being that this is the Universe card. Now we should, after this drop in like the last some point in the last hour, we should be bumping up against the resistance level again. Um, so I didn't chase I didn't chase any longs or any rally. I basically just held tight, and tomorrow morning the plan is either way I sell. I get out of a bunch of my short positions. So hopefully tomorrow pans out the way I see it panning. I expected a sharp decline today based on the 1 month. But the tower card's tricky. Sometimes the tower card indicates like a high that will fall from. See, like right now, I have clear audience. I have music playing in the background, and it's telling me to hold on to my positions. Just hold on, just hold on. That's clear audience, guys. There are no coincidences. Everything is synchronized. Everything is trying to communicate with you. It's the universe. It's consciousness, and it's trying to communicate. All you have to do is open up your mind to it. It's a matter of believing that something is possible because you can't see it until you believe it, not the other way around, my friends. So tomorrow, see, so this was probably high. We have a month low correlator for today. So it looks to me like we probably fall pretty hard from that peak or from today's high. Tomorrow we have a sharp decline on a 1 day spread. So and we also there's the tower card at the end of the day. So I'm gonna sell probably at the end of the day here, guys. Tomorrow, sell my short positions. But I mean, so on the 1 month, we have the month low correlator for today. So it could be like tomorrow roughly, and then we have a high correlator at the end of the week. So I'm going to be looking tomorrow at the low to, or actually on Wednesday's low. On Wednesday's low, I'm going to purchase some long positions right at the open. See, that's tricky. I have some conflicting readings here, guys. So I'm just trying to reconcile. Today was a bit of an unexpected rally. Did not see that coming. I'll be right back, guys. Mom. I'm recording right now. All right, guys. So, sorry, dog made a really stinky present, so I had to take care of that. um, with that said, it was really tough to hold on to shorts and not jump the gun and buy long positions because when looking at the reading for today, I was so off in the morning. It happens occasionally, guys. Um, had I not stuck to my risk tolerance, I would have sold, and then I'd be like, oh crap, now we're dropping, right? But because I held to my risk tolerance, no matter how certain I am, when you have that moment where you're wrong, you're not going to make any, that wrong isn't going to turn into another mistake and another mistake and another mistake. It's just going to be that one time, and then you fix it. And you can see on these that they're marked up with SO metadata. It's color coded data, so it's easy for me to read and understand. And here we go. This is probably where we bump up against a resistance. It's possible, or we go down. We probably go down further. Actually, we probably go to 470, 475, 72, roughly. Yeah, so we're bumping up against resistance here. That'd be the Valor card here. Probably have a breakout even, so probably an opportunity right here in this dip to open a long position. Tomorrow we have selling off, but we probably open at a higher level than where we are now, just based on the fact that I'm advised based on this correlation to play both sides of the market. But I think I'm just going to sit tight. I don't want to put more risk on until I've taken care of the risk that's already on, if that makes sense. You should always make sure that you haven't overstepped your risk tolerance because you got to understand, guys, as certain as you might be, the market goes up and down, up and down, up and down before you're right. And if you're over your risk tolerance, when it's going against you, it's gonna cause all sorts of doubt and fear, and then you start making stupid decisions. And that was all because you were greedy and you bought more than you should have, right? That's risk tolerance, guys. Be smart about it because it changes the way that you think. It's you before you put on before you put on that extra risk in your mind, you're like, oh man, I'm so certain. I got to do it. I got to do it. I don't want to miss out, right? And so you do it, and you step over your risk tolerance, and then basically what happens is your mentality changes. It's not a matter of being right or wrong prior to putting the money on. You could be right and still lose money because your decision making process has changed. So hopefully that's something that hopefully I've explained that well so that you guys understand. You got to know yourself. You got to understand when things go a certain way. How are you going to react? Are you going to react? Are you going to stay poised? Are you going to stay, convicted of your trade? I mean, you got to stick to the strategy. Now we do have a low correlator at the end of the day here. It's likely we have more drop. Uh, we have more drop, and then from a low, a notable like trough where we should pop up again a little bit. But I'm not looking for a big move anymore, guys. It's on its way down. What is it? It's about, and it's also really important, guys, to know astrologically speaking what's going on. So we're coming up on a new moon, which will take place on the second, I believe. Let me make sure. Yes, on Sunday the second. So it's coming up this weekend. And with that said, there's a bit of for the most part, there's a bit of a um, leading kind of influence that the moon has. So you'll see that um, market local lows coincide with full moons. So they'll most often, not all the time, but most often they'll take place within a week prior. A notable trough, and then when you have the new moon, it's the opposite. There's a lot less emotional trading going on. People are thinking a bit clearer. So you have highs around the new moons, but they're a little bit ahead of the actual new moon. And you can see now this was probably close to the high, if not the high uh, that would coincide with the coming new moon. And then also, guys, you got to be careful. We have Mercury retrograde approaching. Mercury retrograde, I've been studying Mercury retrograde for so long. I mean, guys, I was trading with Mercury retrograde specifically in mind for my strategies as far back as 2007. And there's 3 retrogrades a year. I've been trading with them, since then. And I got to tell you guys, the rule number one is don't fucking trade during retrograde. You can place trades moving into it, but you don't want to. You want to like set yourself up so that you don't have to make any new decisions during retrograde because more than likely they're going to be wrong. Um, so generally speaking, there's a lot of volatility going into it, and so we have the influence starting on the 29th. As early as the 29th, we should feel the influence. Like I said, there's leading influence. So on the 29th is the day that I would say retrograde starts to impact the market, and you'll see that volatility will pick up dramatically. There's also pretty notable moments of the Mercury retrograde timetable because it does several different things to create that retrograde. And there's notable moments, the same moments every time where there's a reversal if it takes place on a trading day. So there's a lot that can be extrapolated just from the fact that it's Mercury retrograde. But my original strategy, which was pretty good, except that I would hold too long and then I'd make decisions inside of retrograde and end up losing the money. Had I sold prior to actual retrograde, I would have made a ton of money. And that's because the strategy was based on there being a lot of volatility. If you trade options, do a split. Play both sides of the market, and what you're going to end up being able to do is sell both sides just one at a time, more often than not. But you have to also understand that what happens on a trading day astrologically will impact. Like retrograde storm starts and it's not a trading day, there won't be a reversal on Monday. You know what I mean? That's how it works. But with that said, guys, there's a couple things. There's a couple things that you must know about retrograde if you insist on trading. I know plenty of people will. It's just the way of the world. So there's a few things. So if you're a technical trader, you have to expect that all of the technical like rules are not going to apply. So and by that I mean like let's say we're rising towards a resistance level. We're rising towards let's say a resistance level here. Um, it's a little bit off. So So normally in technical analysis, we would test that resistance level, and if we break through it and then bounce off of it as support, that would be an indication that we were going higher for the most part. But here, the reversal in a retrograde would likely happen um, before before it actually hits the actual resistance level, or it will break straight through it and not bounce, just keep on going. And that's what you have to expect, is that things will not go according to what's expected during retrograde. That's rule number one. Rule number two is you got to double check all of your trades. Double check all of your trades. Every retrograde, when I was just trading a small account, every retrograde I would end up pattern day trading flagged because I made a stupid decision, or a stupid error, and didn't notice that it was a put instead of a call or something like that. I mean, guys, it happens during retrograde. Little silly errors, they happen during retrograde. So rule number two is you want to make sure that you double check everything. Rule number three is follow the plan that you set out ahead of retrograde, right? Don't create a new plan during retrograde. Stick to the plan that you had prior to it if you're going to trade in there. All right. And reversal points. So the moment when, and these only apply if it happens on a trading day, but the day that we go into Mercury's storm, which is when the planet enters the part of the sky that it's going to revisit two more times during the retrograde period. So that day is a reversal. So in other words, the 29th is a reversal day. However, the 29th is a Sunday, so there shouldn't be much of a reversal there. The next day is the actual retrograde. The next moment would be the actual retrograde. And that's on the 2nd of January. And then you have the same thing kind of coming out of it. You have when it goes station again as a pivotal point, and then when it leaves storm is another pivotal point. So I would say, guys, I should stay right where I am on these puts. Luckily, I'm not over invested, so I was able to sit tight and watch the market do the opposite of what I expected. It happens occasionally, but the thing is it's not so much that it didn't do what it's expected; it's that the time frame was a little bit off. Like the sequence of events still applies, right? So like this was the universe card, right? But we had a big adjustment card. I mean, this was like basically this was strife, probably strife, and then this was all adjustment. So sometimes it does get elongated, right? And so based on that, I understand that we're now in the midst of the universe card, and we should see a turnaround bumping up against resistance relatively soon because we are in the last hour now. But there is a low correlator as well for the close, even though it's a bullish card. It's an interesting position. However, again, I'm not investing any extra. I'm not putting any more risk on the table. Tomorrow, I will reassess the situation. All right, check this out. This is the 1 month, guys. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but this is a 1 month overview day by day with SO meta analysis data color coded into it. I know it looks like a crazy cluster F, but it makes perfect sense to me. And I can also teach people what all the colors and symbols mean. But there's so much data that I needed to use colors and symbols. You can't write, you know. Yeah, we should be coming up on a. So that's today's the tower card. But like I said, sometimes a tower card there'll be a bullish day, and then at the high there'll be a sell off. So that today could be a bullish day, and tomorrow could be the selling off. Um, Huh, interesting. Like I said, 475, 76, we're about to meet that level, guys. As I said, when we were still up high, when we started to decline, we would likely see uh, the 475, 76 level, and we're very, very close to that now. We'll probably break through that actually, and then in all likelihood, the 200-day, which is at 475, 76, will act as a support level or as a resistance level that we bump up against as valor. The universe card is a very strong bearish card. So, with that said, this is a relatively strong move to the downside. And so you guys understand, this is a 1 minute chart for the S&P, SPY ETF. Um, I use a 1 minute chart because it makes most sense as far as behavior when looking at it by the hour. If you were to look at it by the a chart by the hour, this reading would probably confuse you a little bit because I mean there's there's so much data hidden unless you're an expert candlestick person. However, we are currently completing the book, and that includes candlesticks. So the cards that we've extrapolated an actual candlestick association to it. All that information will be in the book. Very excited about that. Look at that. A 5 minute chart works, a 10 minute chart works. And the reason why I didn't chase this rally, one, is because I was being advised not to. And then two, when you look at a 10 minute chart, I mean, we were overbought like the entire day. Like basically the entire day we were severely overbought, but we kept going higher. So it's never a good idea to buy a long position while you're this overbought, even if you feel like, oh man, I'm missing out on the rally. Like, you need to be smart about it. So you missed that rally. How many rallies are there? There's going to be a ton of fucking rallies. It's the stock market, so don't act like it's one rally, right? This is all mentality, guys. That's what trading is. It's mentality. It's learning how to it's managing your mentality. It's outwitting your mentality, right? It's your future you trying to cancel out the past you. Mentality, guys. It's so important. Risk tolerance is mentality. Chasing is mentality. I should have is a mentality, right? Like, is it a good trade when you lose money, but you followed the rules? You followed your trading rules? Yes, in my opinion, that is a good trade. You want to make sure that if you create the proper plan and then proper plan and it doesn't hold true for you, that your exit strategy is followed, right? That's mentality. That's self-discipline. It's mentality, guys. But most important for mentality, guys, when making decisions, it's rule of thumb metaphysically, right? Metaphysically, in a way that manifests into your future, you want to make sure that you make decisions only from a place of positivity. If you have to make decisions from a place of positivity, because what you're doing is you're manifesting your thoughts and the way that you're thinking about what you're doing at that moment in preparation for the future. Your thoughts are going to manifest that into the future, right? So if you're negative and you're trying to manifest something positive in your life, what do you think happens? Right? So you have to make sure you're in the proper mentality, the proper energy, when you make decisions. To do so otherwise is a recipe for disaster, my friends.